Greetings, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for the Indigenous Wisdom for the Earth series. I have a very special guest with us today. Her name is Helene Lindmark, and she comes from the land of Sápmi in Sweden. Helene, I would love for you to just introduce yourself to our audience and just give us a little information about who you are and where you're from.
Oh, I'm Helene Lindmark, and I'm coming from Sápmi, Sweden. I was raised and born above the Arctic Circle in a small village called Liikavaara. I come from a very traditional family that from the Sámi people, but also interacted with the Swedish, of course. I come also from a very gifted family, which I realized late in my years that the gift has gone in generations back. I always wondered why I had this connection with nature, why I had this connection with spirits, message, and also meeting them since I was very, very little, before 3 years old. But I also had it was very Christian house, religion of Christianity and Lestadianism. So it wasn't allowed during my whole life to embrace that. It was kind of two worlds. So in the middle of my life, I realized that I questioned myself, where am I going in life? What is this? And I thought I needed an education in it. And my father said, there are no educations, it's in your roots. And it's in the forest, and it's in the ancestral wisdom of our lands. And I asked him, what can I do? How can I find out? And he said, you need to go out in nature. And you need to deeply listening. And you need to deeply be. And I said to him, please, can you tell me, because this is a couple of years after my mother died. I said, please, can you tell me, can you just tell me what I've seen? Because I've seen so many things that I stored in my memories during my lifetime growing up in the village. And he confirmed everything, every being I saw. And he also told me that our family was very, very gifted, and that his grandfather was a priest in the village, but he was also the doctor, the nature doctor. So he had two roles, but they were no speakable about it. It was just like that. Everyone knew that when they were sick, they're coming to his grandfather, and he helped them. Mm. So I went for 3 weeks. I struggled with myself until one day the spirit of my land embraced me. I cannot really describe that in words, but then I knew there's kind of a being in me, and that the guidance is beyond my belief system. So I dedicated myself to really do the walk of my ancestors, but also to carry the call further on for my grandchildren. And and to grow up in Sápmi is it's no separation between us and the nature. And recently I lost my village through the mining company. And now I really can see, I experienced the loss of lands. I experienced the destruction of, there are no signs still left now of that there ever been people living in this village. It's gone. And that is extremely hard to describe in words, but that makes me also more dedicated. How can we find a way to make people be awake, to make people be aware that she's holding us, that we are held by her, that she's holding the land, that we can walk on Mother Earth. So it's what I also saw and experienced during losing my lands, that many of us get sick in my family, in lungs, in hearts, get heart pain. My father, he gets very much high blood pressure, and it's kind of the pollution of the land is, when you're so connected, it's a part of you. And that is something that I see is today in the world. The message is that we are really so disconnected, but the patterns go so long far away, but it comes from the collective traumas are so deep. But I believe we have a choice to come in peace with that and embrace that with love and healing, and really see what world do we want to live in, what walk do we want to do. And I think that is the biggest message I want to give to the world, is that we make do many wrong paths, or make some decision that was not in really tuned with ourselves, but we can make a change. We can be aware. And I think that is how I want to reach people, by reaching their heart, planting seed in them, because what we are creating is the world for the young generation. And will they still be able to behold if we are destroying it? So that is kind of a question that is struggling in me. But it wasn't easy. It's not so easy either, because the spirit, the traditional spirituality path in Sápmi is also very secret and very precious hold by the land up there. So and that is also how the colonialism has hurt our people, how we're still struggling of having our own identity, and how we are not announced by the government, and how also this kind of people think sometimes that we are suspicious. We're not suspicious, but the collective trauma is deep inside of us, and who to trust, because it's a big landscape. We have big lands up there, but the destructions is the same as it is in the south of the world, but it's a different landscape, and it's a different vegetation, but it's going really fast now. And what are they after? They are after the minerals. They are after the minerals to build more and more electric things, and that is the green shift is something that is really affecting our health and our self-determination as humans, but also as Mother Earth, because we need to be aware that what we're doing now is that, are we building a sustainable world, or are we building a world that is for this moment, for 1 year, for like my village, they take the minerals for 10 years, then it's finished, and it will be just a big hole.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so it's kind of and I think by being on a level of, I think the peace, I would say I'm a peaceful activist. I think on diplomacy, I think that if I can reach some percent in their heart and create an awareness of that what they're doing is affecting also the common generation, their children, and is it really about collect money? Is it really about collecting power? Because that is destroying us.
Yeah, no, I have several questions that come up after what you just shared, and I guess I think part of it is to go back to understand a little more with anyone who will be watching this. Is you said the mining company just came and took the land. This is land that you had lived on and your ancestors had lived on for generations, and they just simply came in and took it? Or?
Because what we can see is that during, I grew up in the village. My father grew up in that village. His grandparents lived in that village. And the house we lived is a school that was built in the 1800s. And it started in the 1600s to build this village. And on our land, there was a kind of a stone wall that was built by the people who built up the village to make this place. And the name of the village is Likavara, and it says too much mountain is the explanation of that name. And so during generation, the village has held whatever happened in the village. The land has been holding it, and also all like my father says, all the patterns in the forest. I could map them all in my head, you know, and all that. We didn't need anything in the beginning, you know. We had it all in the nature. It was not, my family is not a family that was used to go to the doctors, in the physical doctors. We had it in my family that we knew how to take care, and also that the nature was holding us, but we were also protecting the nature. We lived by the element, and also we are living by the season, the 8th season, where every season is the season in between is the most important season where we prepare. For example, now we're going for the winter season, so this is a time of integration, reflection, message, and just to come in peace and rest. We do the handcraft a lot this time, the duji. We're really taking care of these things, and really, you know, also reflect over the year the cycle has been and how it is, because the year starts for us in May when the reindeer is born. So and then we follow the 8th season. But when the climate change is coming and all the destruction is coming, it's moved the structure in the land. And that affects. And what we can see is that they started test drilling in my village maybe 20 years ago. Yeah, I think 20 years ago, or maybe before. The forest starting to die. You could see, and now the 5 last years, the forest didn't give any berries, and it's going like in a sadness because it felt the destruction. And we've been fighting, you know, for the village. But 1933, there was one of my relatives. He was a farmer in the village. He was plowing to potato land to sow, and he hit a rock, and it was pure gold.
Oh.
And then they claimed the land. That the day, you know, they want to have the minerals in my land, they had the right to take it. So it was even more harder. But so it was kind of it's been kind of a process. And in May, the 25th of May, they trashed our house. And that's the day my father called me and said, I'm getting a heart attack. I cannot breathe. And I had very hard to, I have a very much problem with my lungs because it's kind of so deep inside of me, because it's all the ancestors that been with the stories, but also the message and all that I cannot give to my grandchildren. I have 2 grandchildren, and how can I, so I need to be very protected of the stories about, you know, I have pieces of the land collected just to give them a connection where they're coming from. But it's really, and this is something that is, when they're taking our land, it's really affecting us as humans beings, our health, in a very, very deep way that I think it's very extreme to explain, but we are living so connected with our land.
Yes. Yeah. No, I can just imagine living on that land where all your ancestors have lived, and you know the land, and you just so interconnected that it's a part of you. And I think most of us don't have that experience or don't understand that knowledge. Some of the people who take from the land can't get that because they haven't lived it. But I also agree that there is that connection in each of us in some way. And it's about how do we pull that forward? You know, first I just want to say I'm very sorry for the loss of the land. I can tell how very precious and important it is. And it makes me very sad to hear that that had occurred. And I'm glad that you're taking some kind of steps to connect the next generation with it. But I mourn the loss with you.
And it's also
you mentioned you do some walks. Go ahead.
yeah, but I think that, you know, the wisdom, the knowledge, every one of us has an origin. We have an origin we come from, and during different things have cut that connection, cut that cords. It can be religion, it can be war, it can be other collective trauma, and we can. I mean, I was totally confused before I realized that the importance of that I have a belonging somewhere. I felt, where is my belonging? I always moved. I always didn't find a peace in myself. I had a kind of I had so deep connection with the spirits, but I was afraid to talk to people about it because I had so many patterns of that's not right in the house of God and things like that, from we don't talk about it, the silence. And I think that is also, you know, to really to dress up what is really wisdom. Wisdom is something that a knowing beyond, we don't to know things, but we don't really know the source of it, but trust it. To trust ourselves, to come home and really feel this is my heartbeat, this is my water, this is my emotional, this is my fire inside, and this is the I am the earth, and the water I have inside flowing in me is a part of me. It's my DNA. And it has deeper connection beyond. But I feel also what I feel is it's very simple to live up in the north. It's very simple life. And when I started to do this walk and people asked me, and they had this extremely difficult question with difficult words, I said, what sometimes is we make the world more complicated by creating words for everything, and then we lost the connection. My grandmother, she always said, like, Helen, just listen to your stomach, listen to your belly, what is saying. Do you want to do this? Does it feel good in your belly? And I mean, that's the intuition, you know, to feel it in the belly, in the source of us. And she always said also, you know, remember to walk on Mother Earth with love, because she's holding you. And that she said always when we're going out for picking the berries, the cloudberries in the soft land, because you really needed to listen to the land when you walk. Otherwise, you know, it could drag you down. And I have an experience where my aunt was disappearing and we just saw her head. And because she was not consciousness here walking, she was in the head with something else. And I think that's to be more conscious of what we're doing, and also appreciate but it's also, if we never had that, we need also to not to say you have to do it. It's just to awake and make people curious, you know, aware of it. What it means to carry wisdom. What is it really? How and I had a call with a school in India, and they were really lovely. They were between 12 and 18, and the topic was wisdom. What is wisdom? And it was so nice when I said to them, wisdom is, in a way, something that is a knowing beyond everything. And then the girl said, yeah, I know. I know this happened, but I don't know how it happened. I just knew to do that. And I think that is about trusting. We have lost the trust in ourselves, in the disconnection and and the world we live in, we have disconnected for our own trust in our own life existence.
Yeah, no, that saying is beautiful. I absolutely love them. So glad that you shared that. I do think I see that a lot of times people think that nature or the world is separate from us, but we are made of nature.
Yeah,
You know,
we
we
are.
are one and the same, and what happens to the planet is happening to us. And you know, do you have any advice for people who are just starting to remember that or realize that, and how they can connect to their land, or maybe talk about some of the walks that you do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think one that is also, to start with, because Mother Earth we are Mother Earth, we are children of her. So the nature is living in us. And also to some people, I start always with the breathing, to connect to the breathing, feeling where is your breath in your body, really feeling into it, and really like feeling how the breath is embracing, because the breath is also makes the energy flow in our body. It's making the river flow, and also to connect to that, but also allow ourselves to be vulnerable. Today we are living in a world where we want to be so strong. We want to do the right thing. We want to live in the right way. But I believe we need to come home to ourselves, to feel into that, and also to reflect. And I had a call in the morning with the person that comes where growing up, the father grew up in the World War II, and I'm gonna guide him. And I said, it's about, this is a pattern that flows in your river, and how can you transform it so you can find your own breath and find a way to do the best for the earth and do the best for humanity. And I think it starts with the breathing, but also ground yourself to feel, I said, feeling the earth, and yes, and that is also to touch her and just deeply listening and feeling what is happening inside of you when you stand barefoot on the ground, or when you put your hands to the ground, or when you're holding a tree, really, and try to reset the mind and just feel, deeply listening to the body. The body is our biggest teacher. It's a resonance, but it's the earth inside of us. And the mind is something else. It's kind of it can distract us in so many levels, by patterns, by ego, by belief systems, by we are influenced, but most of all, what I see is that the fear of being wrong is so big in the world, to not be included, to be safe, the fear of you are not safe. But if we can, in a way, save ourselves, if we can really feel like, this is me, I may have done many things, many journeys in my life, but this is my ground now, and ground yourself. I always say to people that imagine that you are a tree. Imagine you have your roots in the ground, and the stem is your body here now. This is the life you're living now. And the crown is the universe. And you can allow, when you feed the tree with water, it goes into the root system, and it goes up to the stem and to the universe. So just open that channel to connect. And not thinking that you have to have the answer, what is coming. Just feel in the body, what is it telling you? Because I think that is something we need deeply, to listening to the body, that is the nature, but also deeply listening to the silence, to just stay in silence and just allowing yourself to be in that space.
Yeah, that's absolutely beautiful. That's one of my favorite things to do in the middle of the day. Is I will just go outside and get completely quiet and just feel the sun, or feel the breeze, or listen to a bird. Just pause the mind and experience what's around me. So yeah, I really relate to that, and I love that you shared that as well. Um, you mentioned you wanted to talk about what you see going on worldwide and how we can unify together to help bring about change.
I'm now entering the COP27, and I had a lot of message. I didn't last year I sent a message. My grandmother came and you need to go to COP, and I didn't know why. And but I needed to express that because we are a very silent people in the north, in Sápmi, that the destruction that is going on is the same company that is in Amazonia or Brazil, or if you look back, and that how can we help each other to find ways to survive. This year I have another abilities to what I see worldwide coming is that I have a strong message from my grandmother that, Helen, you're going to attend COP as a human being, but with a deep wisdom, and talk to the heart of humanity. And that is what I'm going to do. I'm going to tell a story of why I'm doing this walk, that I am a grandmother. I have 2 grandchildren that's going to walk on this earth, that I have a responsibility for, and that I really want everyone to remember that we have been a child, because I think that is sometimes we lost, that we've been running barefoot on the grass. We've been seeing the butterflies. We have looking at the sun, the sky. We have been embracing the water as a child, and to remember that is what, and everyone wants to give the best future for the children, for the grandchildren, for the common generation. Even it doesn't matter what costume you have or what authority you have. You want to give that to your family, and I want to awaken that memory, and that's why I'm this time going to enter as without my traditional dress. But I also going to tell them why I'm not wearing it, because that traditional dress is a part of me, but the wisdom is even a deeper part of me as a human being, and it's not about the dress or the drum, or they are attributes that gives me an ability to go into different realms, and even makes me stronger. But and that makes me also a little bit kind of not nervous, but I feel that she has a point with it. And I also see that we have the physical war, we have the financial, we have the inflation, we have the search of what is good for the world now, but we also have the confusion in the spirit world. And I can see this kind of not competition, but I can see the tense in different layers. It's like a lake of 7 layers I see, and I also see that we have to be very aware of when we enter in Egypt, because it has the spirits. We need to talk to the lands, to the waters, and really, ask for permission and listen to what the needs are there, so we can meet each other in harmony and peace. And that is what I feel it's really extremely important, that to walk with the peace, the peaceful approach for me, and because the world is struggling. And if I look beyond everything layers, what is the context? Yes, it's the fear of not being seen, the fear of destruction, the fear of not being loved, and the fear of there's so deep fear. We can see that it's creating in different layers, and that is what I see. That's why I also been very informative with the people who connected from COP organizer, that to really ask for permission, hold the space in a sacred way, and also even maybe have people from the land who holding the space and have direct connection with the ancestor from their space, because we are coming from all over the world and we all have our guidance, we have all our ancestors, we have our spirits with us, and but also, you know, to have this pure intention of that we are here together to unify, not to value. It's kind of, it's not about that anymore.
Right.
And that's why I think also we need this water is really calling now to needs a lot of water ceremonies, but also reconnecting. When we're reconnecting to our own water, we're reconnecting to our emotional, to our, and also to our DNA and our pattern emotionally. So it's for me, it's a lot about working with water now, holding the earth, holding the ground, the roots that are the work I do, but also and now be very connected to the water. What is the message from the water? So I think, yeah.
I'm very grateful that you're coming from your land to go all the way to Egypt. And, you know, I think you were mentioning it's something your grandmother had urged you to do. And that's, you know, thank you for all of us. I'm going to say on behalf of anyone who's watching that I think it's so important to gather this knowledge and those who have that connection to the land and their spirit, and to come together and say, hey, this is what we're seeing. What can we do to work together?
Yeah.
And make things go better than they are now. And you're right, there's a lot of fear in the world everywhere you look. It's just so powerful at this time. So I'm very grateful that you're going to this land and that you'll be in touch with others who also know that land, and people from all around the world coming together in one place. It's very powerful, and I wish all the best with what goes on during that time. You had mentioned something about how we can also, everyone who's like watching, come into community, like with each other and with nature and ceremony. And I was wondering if you could share a little more what you were meaning by that.
Community is to have a belonging to something that is where you feel that you're whole, where you feel that you can be who you are with all your limitation or your powerfulness, whatever. But the community is also, the nature is a community for me. That's the best healing room. You know, when I have so much in my mind, I take a long forest walk. And I just walk and walk and walk, and I smell, and I just, you know, let everything that is inside of me move with the walk in the forest. And in a way, it comes out with a peaceful clarity. But to describe what's happening, it's really, it's difficult because it's beyond the words. But the community is to be, that's what I feel, you know, with nature, that's one community for me, to being a part of, that I am feeling that I'm held by my mother, I'm held by Mother Earth and the nature. And it's now the separation in between us. But then also the community to have, you can see so much suffering, you know, in real blood family, but also that the community is to have a belonging where you can grow and you have ability to grow, and where you are meeting people that are, through meeting, we are sometimes the teacher and sometimes we are the student, and to weave in that realm and see and reflect on it and share and sit together. And that is kind of something, and I think the community building is really important, because that is what people longing for, what I see in the world. People longing for having a belonging. Many people are searching, and what I see in Europe, I have a very strong vision about Europe. I see that we are really don't know how to connect with our lands, our waters. So we are searching in other traditions and culture. And I want to bring that back to Europe, to, to teach how can we, what do I talk about when I say connect with Mother Earth? What do I talk about when I say connect with the trees? And that there's no there are no kind of right book how to feel, because we are different. Every person is unique. So and through that find the connection. And ceremony, ceremony for me is kind of, it's a sacred space together with my family, where we sit and just gather together. And it can be a deeper ceremony for an intention, with water, with earth, with fire, with Father Sky, and that is. But also, to simplify that, because today I can feel also with separating the ceremonies from something that is something that feels so distant from us. But if we can find a way to make it more natural in our daily life, like when you're living in a city, to just sit with a candle and embrace the fire for just some minutes, and looking into the flame and connect, and maybe hold hands and just really not complicate it, simplify it, just to be. And then of course there are ceremonies that are direct in different directions that we do for grieving, for celebration, or for the waters. But I think also that is also something I'm going to talk about when I'm in COP, that ceremony is for me a sacred space where we have a common intention, we meet around.
Yeah, no, that's beautiful. I especially love the part about making ceremony part of your daily life. It doesn't have to be something grand, and
No.
It can be something as simple as just taking space each morning to greet the day and setting an intention for the day, and getting people to reconnect to that. I love that. I think that's such a beautiful idea, and how much different could the world be if everyone took a moment to just be in a space of sacredness or ceremony on a daily basis. We probably have less fear, for sure.
But it's also too deeply, like when my sons were little, I always in the morning had a time of reflection, a daily word reflection. How do you feel today? Like to see them, deeply see each other and meet each other, and that also gives so much energy. If someone is seeing you, or you have this moment of silence where you're just eating in silence in the morning, like, and then how you can start the day with so much energy and so much peace inside of yourself. And I like that to really to reach out in the world, that to be, it's the small things, it's the small steps that makes a difference, that we start somewhere, and that it starts with us, but also take it into the family, take it into the morning routines or the evening routines with our children, with our partner, to make it it doesn't have to be 1 hour, it's just 5 minutes enough. It's kind of that space.
Yes, and finding a way to take it into your life. I think so much is like got to rush off and start a day and just go, and how do you slow down, and how do you bring something sacred into your go time? Just understanding that a pause is a beautiful thing. And I just think I'm in the USA, and from the culture here has always been, you're an individual, you have to take care of yourself, look out for number one, climb that corporate ladder, all kind of like, it's so separate from the sense of community, how things used to be, and how you would work together as a village or as a town. That is missing, and I think there could be so much healing if we all started to go back towards the idea is we take care of each other. We're connected. We're a part of the land. It's not about competition on who has the biggest house or car or whatever. It's about how can we help each other thrive and survive.
And also, you know, that I don't have it from my family is that we survived. We learned to survive. I learned to not to ask for help, but also to ask for help is something beautiful, you know. And it's also a love to yourself that I don't have all the dots in my life. Sometimes I need to ask for help, and I think that bridge also is very important to open. That it's a beautiful thing to, you know, to be vulnerable and say, I need help, you know, I need help in this, because I feel that what I've been also, that I am sometimes advising in some groups is that to be the voice of her, but also the communication between the corporate world and Mother Earth is also to meet on the bridge in the middle and to try to find to really listening to as I'm listening to them, that they listening to what are the message from her, because we all want to survive, we all want to live on this earth. But like you said, it's not about competition, it's not about who, but we have, that is what we have been living this last century, many years, you know, about like you said, we go to school, we educate ourselves, we have the frame, the villa, the house, but are we really happy? I always say there's a house in the house, and is that house happy? Is grounded, and then
Yes. Oh, this conversation has been absolutely beautiful and amazing. I really, really appreciate you coming and speaking. I know it's enriched my life already. And I wanted to ask you if you had anything on your heart or mind that you would want our network to know, anything you want to share. You know, it could be experience or just something you feel called to speak on.
I would like to say that every one of you are unique, and every one of you have different waters, different DNA, and there's a gift in this world, that is that gift we can give ourselves, to come home to ourselves and to really be kind and humble, and because the world we are living in a world where the value of what is what, the judgment, and I think sometimes humanity is the hardest judge against themselves. So just to be listening deeply to yourself, listening deeply to the silence, and remember that we are all important. And if we all make a little bit of effort for the earth, we can make a big change.
Absolutely. That's wonderful. Thank you so very much for coming.
Thank
look
you.
forward to hearing more. I hope you stay in touch and let us know how the COP meeting goes. And just thank you so very much, and for bringing your beauty and your stories and your spirit. I can completely see how connected you are. You live that connection. It just it is an essence that shines out of you. And I feel grateful to have received that this morning. So thank you so very much for being with us.
Thank you, Tara. Thank you. I'm honored. Thank you.